Joining me right now is West Virginia Attorney General Patrick Morrisey. AG Morrisey, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks very much. Certainly in the fog of war, we are feeling the impact of foreign oil rather than home production. Your reaction?
Well, Maria, first of all, thank you for having me on this really important day. We're about to get over to the U.S. Supreme Court. I know we'll talk about that, but let's focus on Ukraine for just a moment. A lot of the U.S.'s position right now was avoidable. If the Biden administration doesn't try to immediately undermine American energy independence by immediately trying to close down Keystone, by doing the social cost of carbon, the moratorium on oil, gas, coal exploration, the federal lands, their climate policy, do you know how much stronger we'd be to deal with Russia right now? It would be night and day. America needs energy independence and security to position ourselves on the global stage, and Biden's been undermining it every single day. That's the quickest way to get leverage and to push back on this. We don't need oil from Russia. We want to make sure that America can generate the energy needs for its future.
And this is a big part of the West Virginia growth story, AJ. I mean, you could have job creation soar in West Virginia if, in fact, you get those drilling mechanisms working again.
Well, look, I think that if you look at the future of West Virginia, we want to grow on the strength of a lot of our energy resources. Obviously, coal will always play an important role in terms of baseload fuel, its reliability, its security. But natural gas has such incredible potential. And when you look at what's going on, especially in the northern part of our state, we have a chance to really soar to move up to that next level. But unfortunately, we have a real fight on our hands with the Biden administration. They're looking at every opportunity to curtail those opportunities, even though we know that it could lead to a brighter future for our citizens.
So, AG, the Supreme Court is hearing arguments today on a high-stakes case determining the scope of the federal government's climate power. You're leading the states, a group of states seeking to limit the Environmental Protection Agency's ability to impose new limits on greenhouse gas emissions from power plants. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. So this is a really important case, obviously from an energy and environmental perspective, but probably even more so from an administrative law perspective. It's probably one of the biggest separation of powers cases that we've seen in recent years. And here's what it's about. We think anytime there's a major issue or question facing the American public, and you have to reach a decision as to who has the authority to act, when it's a major question of the day, it has a major political, major social, major economic, Congress needs to step in and take action and make the decision, not unaccountable bureaucrats. We'll be arguing that today, West Virginia v. EPA. We don't think that the EPA has the unilateral ability to decarbonize our country. We know that there's only a limited amount of authority that the EPA possesses with respect to these carbon emissions. So we want to make sure we rein them in. This is a great opportunity to rein in federal overreach.
Well, the states have been fighting the EPA's plan to regulate emissions since the Obama administration, and the ability to do so is central to Biden's climate agenda. I know you're arguing this case before the Supreme Court, but there are other cases where we're looking at the administration put climate agenda first, even in the president's nominations in the banking sector. Look at who he's nominating to be the overseer of all the banks, a woman who in the past has said banks should not lend to fossil fuel companies.
Look, the Biden administration is administrative state run amok. We've never seen it grow to this length, and we know that they've been issuing one unlawful regulation after another. That's why the Republican attorneys general have been out in front, and we've had many major wins against Biden's overreach. But we have to keep going because we know as Congress's majority will likely flip sometime in November, Biden may feel that he can only resort to the pen. This case and others like it are critical to really holding back that raft of federal overreach that's undoubtedly going to come our way. And it will not only affect American energy, it'll affect these mandate questions, it'll affect the financial services system, the healthcare system. It's important that we get all this stuff done right, but we've never seen something this aggressive. That's why we have to step up and take action.
A.G. Morrisey, you make such a great point in terms of the president using the pen. We've already seen executive orders that have put in place new fee structures for any company that goes against the climate agenda. How significant has that been in terms of executive orders instituting new fees and costs for corporate America as this administration puts its climate agenda forth?
Well, I think it's been a huge problem. And in fact, one of the biggest changes that we've seen between the Trump administration and the Biden administration is the volume of regulations that are now on the table. President Trump was correct. He wanted to dramatically reduce the number of regulations on the books, that would actually provide greater autonomy and freedom for these companies and for the American people. Biden's doing the exact opposite. And it's even worse than that.
Yeah.
He's looking to have mission creep. So if there's a traditional authority that the EPA operates, he wants the Federal Reserve to get involved. He wants HHS involved, the Securities and Exchange Commission. That's not how our constitutional system works. That's why we're fighting back.
All right, we'll be watching the fight. AG Patrick Morrisey, great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here. And we will be watching
so much,
the battle.